Content warning, brief sequences with flashing lights, discussions about prisons and prison labor.
A hotel-hopping social grifter, now behind bars for a series of wide-ranging scams.
This is my first ever remote interview.
But how is Anna Delvey, a convicted fraudster who's currently fighting deportation from the US, able to take part in Dancing with the Stars?
They gave her permission to go do this.
Everybody, welcome to the Clown Town. I'm Gus.
I'm Val. It's nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Whether it's your first time here or you're a returning clown, we appreciate you and thank you for stopping by. Today is going to be a little bit of a different video than normal because we got a lot of feedback that people enjoyed feeling like they were having a conversation with us.
Which we very much appreciate, by the way. Thank you all. So because of all of that, to Yapville we go.
We're gonna have a chat. We're gonna have a gab session and we're going to talk a little bit about something that's been not only on the headlines, but that's been stuck in our minds for quite a bit. Miss Anna Delvey is one of the newest cast members of Dancing with the Stars.
If you don't know who Anna Delvey is, we'll do a quick little recap. Her real name is Anna Fobokin Sodoma?
Hoboken! Anna Sorokin is her real name. She basically portrayed herself as someone who had a large trust fund waiting for her any minute now.
Like a rich socialite type vibe. And she basically used this Anna Delvey persona to scam a lot of people. Now, what a lot of people seem to think is that she only scammed rich people. From what it looks like, her scamming did not discriminate because one of the main people named in the lawsuit, best friend, that she stole $62,000 from, which, mind you, for this person, that was more than their yearly income.
She didn't only scam rich people. So I think a lot of the whatever that's kind of been going around about Anna Delvey is because of the general, like, eat the rich sentiment that has become very popular for good reasons. I'm not trying to discredit that at all. I just don't think that that's necessarily fair because that's not all that Anna Delvey did. In order to make herself seem like she was rich, she played several people, including people that were a part of her intimate circle.
And mind you, she didn't just like take this money from her bank account and run. She did this thing, which my girlies out there, if you know, you've been played this way by a man, so this is personal. Oh my gosh, I don't have the money for that right now. I'm so sorry, but like I'll pay you back, I promise.
And never paid back. Never paid back.
So not only did she take the money, she lied about the fact that she was gonna give the money back to her supposed best friend.
This wasn't just for like rent or basic necessities. This is like lavish trips to Morocco. This is like 5-course meals at Michelin star restaurants in the best places in New York.
Oh, you can't forget about the month-long stay in the concierge room in a hotel that she totally needed, I'm sure. I mean, you know, girls just gotta be in concierge for a month every once in a while, you know?
Even when she went to Rikers Island, which is one of the most notorious prisons in the United States, she still got designer clothes smuggled in for her. Like, this woman has no sense of normalcy because she has created this fantasy world for herself in which everything is decadent and everybody pays for everything that she needs.
And the reason we're talking about this today is because Miss Anna Delvey is trying to keep this image, this facade that she's put up, she's trying to keep it going by going on Dancing with the Stars. By, as you told me before we started recording, starting a podcast that posts weekly. If I remember correctly, she has like an ad agency with not Al Capone. What's this woman's name?
Kelly Catrone. This was supposedly like a pop-up PR agency, so I don't know the permanency of that. Podcast also did not have that many episodes. However, she has been getting like a lot of random opportunities. Like, why is this woman in an ankle monitor at New York Fashion Week?
One thing I said when we were researching this is I feel so bad for the poor lad that has to like program her ankle monitor to not beep on the specific places that she's gonna be. isn't the whole point of an ankle monitor that you stay at home? Because you wear ankle monitors when you are on house arrest. So why the McFuck is she dancing for the damn stars?
It's a good question.
And not only does it piss me off that she's on that show, but it pisses me off that she's on that show with the likes of Ilona Mar and Steve Pommelhorse guy, who are two people that have swayed and wooed and whatever the hearts of the American people, but through actually being good at their jobs, nice, generally likable. It's just wild to me that you'd put those two American superstars on the same stage as bedazzled ankle monitor.
And we're not saying like, oh, Dancing with the Stars is like the American stature for morality in the country. Like, however, it just feels unfortunate and telling that all of those people are on the same season and seem to have the same level of cultural relevance.
At least the show thinks they have the same amount of cultural relevance. I'm not even here to say whether they do or not. The fact that some fuckers just sat in a room and is like, you know, we got Ilona Mar, we got Pommelhorse guy. Hey, you know who'd be fucking great? Delvey? Mix Anna? What would she do with the ankle monitor? Would she wear it? We could do a reveal. Like, you know,
You know that's how they were thinking, and that's not how they should be thinking. They should be thinking like, this woman scammed a bunch of people. She got a bunch of counts against her. I don't remember the amount. Sorry to say, a bunch. That's not a great estimate. I will put the information in the description if you want more details. There's something that feels very American about it. Like, yay, we're gonna platform somebody that did it the bad way, honestly, that screwed a bunch of people over, regardless of their status, and tried to make herself wealthy and tried to make everything around her as beautiful as possible. And look where she is. That's what she's been able to do by getting to walk at Fashion Week.
mind you, this woman was not only a guest at Fashion Week, she closed out a show for Fashion Week. Now, I don't know how big the show was. Just the fact that she was allowed to be there and allowed to do all of these things with a ankle monitor on.
Not only allowed, but applauded by the crowd. They went into roaring applause when she came out, and it was not because of the clothes.
No.
It was not because of the clothes. There's also a lot of people that, because I think of this whole Eat the Rich situation, are commenting on all of this and being like, yay, this is so cute. This is a great pop culture moment. Like, haha, good for her for playing the system.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I think people that don't know the whole story think she's playing the system, which if you don't know the whole story, I can totally see that, because I feel like that's totally how she's trying to spin the narrative. In that one interview we watched,
she did that interview very recently on a very big platform. Her name is Ziwe.
So in this interview, I remember her saying something like, oh, well, I didn't do all that, but if I were to, you know, it wouldn't really be that bad. Obviously, those aren't her exact words, but that's the total vibe we got from it.
What drove you to exploit innocent people and engage in fraudulent activities?
Well, that didn't happen.
12 seconds later.
You just did to rich people what they have been doing to everyone for eternity. What do you have to say for that?
I mean, financial institutions defraud regular people all day, every day.
She said banks take from people all the time.
That's what it was.
Banks can be a problem, and you can also be a problem for taking $62,000 from your friend.
It was giving, look over there.
How do you plan to engage younger voters?
That's a question.
Yeah, what's the answer?
Look over there!
I'm a small fish. I didn't do it, but even if I did, it wouldn't have been that bad in the grand scheme of things, which is so the opposite of taking accountability.
Absolutely.
It's like, I didn't do anything wrong, but even if I did, like, would it have been that bad? Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss.
She has never taken accountability this entire time. Like, I saw a documentary where she was featured with some interview clips of her, and she just thinks that she's smarter than other people. That's the vibe that I got from the interview anyway.
Why are you apologizing? Is it because you're genuinely sorry or because you're sorry you got caught?
I think just my whole story is misrepresented in the media, and I obviously made a lot of mistakes, but I was young, so like in my early 20s. It's been years, and I've spent all these years in jails and prisons. I paid off my restitution. What else can I possibly do?
They could deport you.
Would that make everybody happy?
In America, Most likely.
And so now I have a feeling that this whole press tour, that's what I'm calling it, with the Dancing with the Stars and the Fashion Week, she said herself she wants to show a different side of herself. I think she's trying to get the public to like her again so that she can try to make more money off of them.
Well, did they ever like her?
That's something that I read in The Cut. She was never a very likable person. She was always just really good at like flashing money in front of people. And so they could kind of think, oh, she has the money, right?
Some of the other hotel employees found Anna deeply annoying. She could be oddly ill-mannered for a rich person. Please and thank you were not in her vocabulary. And she would sometimes say things that were, quote, not racist, Neff said, but classist. There's a recollection of an account where one time she said to people that worked at the hotel, "What are you, bitch, broke?"
And she was just really good at saying the right things and like getting in the right places.
Talker. She was a sweet talker.
But not even that, because she was kind of curt and rude.
Well, no, it's wild because you can be a sweet talker and get what you want while being the rudest on the planet. I've met plenty of men that way. Plenty of men have gotten me into bed that way. They were not nice to me.
They hit the right spots.
That's the thing. They hit the right points and only those points, and somehow that still gets you.
I was captivated by it. I was sort of fascinated by her willingness to just challenge boundaries.
How do you think she was able to sort of walk into rooms and sort of do what she wanted?
To some degree, probably because she's a young white female. Also, a lot of it had to do with her specific charm. She seemed good-willed.
I'm only saying this to say I am not like, oh my god, well her best friend just fell for it. No. She used tactics that so many people use every day, just to a very large extent.
Yeah.
Which is also why I feel like talking about this.
I think a lot of people just think like, oh, she was able to trick a bunch of banks into thinking that she had a bunch of money and she almost got a bunch of investments and loans. There is something fascinating about the way that she was able to trick institutions and people of power. Like, it's a fascinating story.
I'll give her that.
That doesn't mean that it's something worth putting on a pedestal and normalizing and being like, okay, whatever, well, she gamed the system, that's fine. Because she didn't game it in order to help other people. She gamed it so that she could go to Morocco and have somebody massage her in the mornings and give her fruit at night.
Because a lot of people, I feel like, are using the eat the rich, Robin Hood type arguments and stuff. But the whole thing, like, steal from the rich, the end of that phrase is to give to the poor. If she just wanted rent to be paid in a normal ass apartment, she would not have needed to take all the money that she did. I'm not even here to shame people that need to cut a few corners to live. You gotta do what you gotta do in a capitalistic society that is really to some people. But she's not one of the people that this society is to in most situations. I'm not saying that as a woman she's never had a problem, but at the end of the day, she is still a white woman that was able to parade as a rich person. People believed her. If she was another person, I don't know if people would have believed her.
And I'm also imagining how like the headlines would have looked if this was like a Hispanic immigrant woman. Because so often the narrative around Hispanic immigrants in general is we are just coming to the United States to try to take your jobs. Imagine how the narrative would have played out.
I don't think this person would have been on Dancing with the Stars.
Let's also talk about the prison industrial complex.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. That's a whole conversation that we've literally had on our docket to talk about and make a video about. There's just so much information. Every time we think we're done, we're not. It just goes to show some people, I feel like, have a hard time getting things that they need in prison. I read a story about a shelter near a prison that had too many cats, and they were gonna have to like the cats because obviously they didn't have space. Someone was like, hey, we should give them to the inmates. They had to like fight to get the right to have a cat. Those cats and those inmates were so much happier after that happened. All of that to say, they had to fight for the right to get a freaking pet to help their mental health, but this woman can get Saint Laurent snuck into Rikers? Like, what?
It's ridiculous.
It's wild, just the disparity.
From the research that I've read, a lot of the time when prisoners end up having to do labor, the conditions that they put them in are horrible. The disparity between like what kind of labor is done done in different kind of areas is horrible. The pay is very menial.
I mean, one thing I can think of that just shows how it is. Some states have inmates working as firefighters while they are in prison. And when they get out, they are legally not able to work as firefighters because they were in prison. And it's like, why would you give someone all of this working experience and then not let them use it?
A lot of the time, they are not being given experience that they can use once they leave prison.
That's what I'm trying to say. They're just doing menial tasks that won't help them, generally speaking.
And so this is like the general state of our prison system in the United States. However, the law does not get applied equally to everybody. I am sorry to say it, but if we can see how Anna Delvey got 11 years for doing what she did and got put on house arrest 2 years in.
3 years in is on Dancing with the Stars with a bedazzled ankle monitor. I'm sorry, not everyone is treated the same. I'm actually not sorry to say that. It's very obvious.
Yeah. And so we need to really figure out how we can apply the law equally to everybody. Some people end up like going to debt prison forever and are just not able to get out of it. And some people are in for things that are menial. There are so many reasons why somebody could be stuck in prison. That does not mean that they're a bad person, but they still get stuck in there.
Yeah.
And yet we have Anna Delvey, who did something that was actually wrong to people, not just rich people. And she does not have any remorse for her actions. In my personal opinion, if she goes on a show that you really like, don't watch that episode.
Yep.
If you really like Dancing with the Stars, maybe go on YouTube and watch some of the other people's dances and just not pay attention until she leaves. We really do not have to give her any of our attention in our capital.
And some people might say like, oh, but that won't do anything. Okay, but if enough people actually do it, then it will. You don't even have to not watch the dances. YouTube exists and has probably all of that stuff. Don't give them a view. Even if it doesn't work, I think it's worth trying because in the end, I don't want to see this woman on my screen. I hate that I'm even talking about her right now because she doesn't even deserve my breath. Here we are. I feel like I need to talk about it because this is bull. Can I just make a little prediction right now? I feel like if the tides ever turn on her, she's going to God.
Ah, good prediction.
I think if the tides ever turn on her, her last resort is the Christians. And this is no shade on the Christians. They are generally a very forgiving people, which is why I feel like she's going to shift to that.
Brittany Dawn did the same thing. There have been a lot of people who have pivoted once they've seen that their careers have not been going well because there are a lot of Christians. And at the end of the day, not every Christian is going to take the time to look into every single person who is a Christian influencer. They might just be like, yay, a Christian influencer, and hit follow.
Especially if enough time has passed at this point, like that it won't be like mainstream news. You know, like Brittany Dawn let her stuff die down for a bit so that her new image could be her religious image. Because I feel like when they apologize for what they did in the past, it's always like sugar-coated. They're never really telling the full story. This is obviously speculation. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't even know if she's gonna be on our radar long enough for this to happen. But I feel like if she is, that's totally where this is going if the tides turn.
Well, I think those are our thoughts for now. We would love to hear what you think. Do you have any Anna Delvey predictions for the next 5 years even?
What's her 5-year plan? Let us know down below.
And do you think we're even gonna be talking about her in 5 years, or is she going to fade into obscurity? We hope so, but she's really good at inventing herself, so...
Also, let us know in the comments if you liked this format of video or if you like it better when we're like reacting and when we're like reading posts and all that stuff. Just like let us know what you think. Just had a little chit chat. I hope you had fun. I had fun. I'll see you next time, babies. Bye. This is my favorite clap. Bye. I mean, wait.